Hi guys, I'm Aussie Villain and welcome to Versus, and today we're going to find out who is better, Erling Haaland or Kylian Mbappe. So if you're new to this concept and you're not familiar with how it works, this is what's going to happen. We are going to simmer through a season with Dortmund and PSG. We're going to find out how Haaland and Mbappe get on at their current clubs. Then we're going to switch them over. Haaland will go to PSG. Mbappe will go to Dortmund. We'll sim through the current season again and we'll compare them and see who does better and therefore who is the better player. This will be the definitive answer to probably the two best, brightest young stars in international football. So let's start by having a look at them. And in no particular order, we will start with Erling Haaland, a very, very good striker, as we know, at Dortmund, worth 70 million, has a release fee, of course, for less than that, so yeah, go sign him up. So this is Erling Haaland, maybe a slight disadvantage of his current club, but of course Mbappe will have to go here. And this is, of course, Kylian Mbappe. Maybe slightly different players in that Mbappe does tend to play from wide areas, but I think we can all agree anyway, that surely they are the two of the brightest stars in international football. So it'll be interesting to see how these guys get on. Let's sim ahead to the end of the season and see how they did. Alright, so we're at the end of the 2021 season. Let's start with Erling Haaland and get a look at his numbers here. So 44 games, 7 off the bench, a couple of international appearances in there as well, but 29 goals, 5 assists, an XG of 28.88, so he slightly overperformed his XG. Only 5 of 10 penalties. Am I reading that wrong? Not a very good penalty taker on Erling Haaland, apparently. 10 Men of the Match awards. We can see there are 48% shot on target ratio. Any other key stats there? Well, the average match rating of 7.6, maybe slightly low. Only 78 key passes as well, though he is a striker, so that's maybe not the best way to judge him. 182 shots, 87 on target. That is maybe a better stat for him. But anyway, that is how he's gone. Minutes per goal, 125 minutes per goal. You can see all these other stats there. So he's had a good season, maybe not a fantastic one. Let's go see how Mbappe got on individually. And we can see him here. He had 59 games. Wow, that is a lot of football. 31 goals, 19 assists even. He outperformed XG again, only just though. 12 Man of the Match awards for him. A 44 shot ratio, percent on target. He had a worse goals per minute ratio. 123 key passes though, which probably explains his more assists, and a 7.77 average. So slightly better than Haaland. Certainly more goals scored, I think more assists as well. So you'd say if we were stopping it right now, which of course we're not, we're barely getting started, you'd maybe just about give it to Mbappe. But let's see how the teams got on. We'll start with Dortmund. So, Dortmund only managed 4th in the Bundesliga. Now, I'm not sure, but that seems like a little bit of a disappointment. I would imagine they would have liked to have done a little bit better. Let's see how they got on in the domestic cup. And I think poorly is probably the best way to describe that. Knocked out in the 3rd round at home to Bayer Leverkusen. Now, Bayer Leverkusen obviously not a bad side, but, well, you would expect a lot more from that, I would imagine. But, of course, Europe is where heroes are made. Let's see how they did in the Champions League. And the answer to that as well is, well, not brilliantly. This is the first knockout round. They got drawn against Real Madrid and got beaten 4-0 on aggregate. We can see that there. So that's, you're going to have to say that's disappointing, isn't it? Not the easiest draw. You can see their first knockout round. But yeah, you would imagine that, well, he's left Mbappe a lot of room to better him, hasn't he? So let's go see how PSG got on. So perhaps unsurprisingly, PSG did win Ligue 1, isn't it? They won it and they won it well. But as I say, I don't think that's any real surprise there. Let's see how they did in the cup. So they managed to win the cup in extra time. It looks like he may have come off the bench, but Paris did win the French Cup. So that is, well, that's a tick in the box. Mbappe has a trophy. Now let's see how they got on in Europe. And again, the answer is not well. They also got knocked out in the first knockout round by Manchester United. Now 4-3 on aggregate. They put up a much better fight than Dortmund did, arguably. But nonetheless, there it is again. First knockout round. Both teams got knocked out. So, a little bit disappointing, you'd say, so far. But what we'll do now is let's switch them over. Mbappe goes to Germany. Haaland comes to Paris. And, well, let's see what the difference is. Okay, so Erling Haaland as a Paris player, 23 goals for him, 9 assists. He outperformed his XG, got a little bit better at penalties apparently in Paris. 14 Man of the Match awards, an average rating of 7.89, a goal every 158 minutes, so his goal ratio was slightly worse than what Mbappe's was. He's obviously not an assist man, less key passes as well. So individually, I think he's done a little bit worse in Paris than what Mbappe did. Let's see how Mbappe got on at Dortmund. Okay, so Mbappe, 25 goals, only 2 assists. He outperformed his XG, 11 Man of the Match awards, an average match rating of 7.65, a goal every 160 minutes. Didn't get many assists, look at that. Well, only had 2 assists all season, so maybe played in a little bit of a different role. He may well have ended up playing as a striker, as you know, basically may have switched places directly with Haaland in that sense. But again, I don't think he's done as well in Germany as Haaland did. So they both switched clubs and not played as well, I don't think, as each other. But let's go see how the clubs have got on. We'll start with Dortmund. And Dortmund, with Mbappe, did have a better season. They finished second in the league, so that's an improvement. So you have to give a little bit of an advantage there to Mbappe. Let's see about the German Cup. So the German Cup as well was an improvement. They did go out, but in the semi-finals to Dortmund, to Munich 3-0. So they got much, much further. Of course, they went out in the third round with Haaland. And of course, Europe, where heroes are made. And, well, they didn't do any better than they did with Haaland. Again, they got knocked out in the first knockout round, 6-0 in aggregate this time by Juventus. So that is, well, you got to say not fantastic, don't you? So you can see there, first knockout round, Juventus have beaten them. So that leaves the door ajar. Can Haaland outperform Mbappe at Paris? Let's find out. So again, unsurprisingly, Paris Saint-Germain won the league with Haaland. So both Mbappe and Haaland have managed to do that. Let's see the French Cup. So the French Cup, not a success for Haaland because they got beaten on penalties by, was that Nice? By Nice, yeah, in the semi-final. So a slightly worse effort there for Haaland. But, of course, the what's the word we're looking for here? It's Europe, isn't it? Let's go see how they got on in Europe. Well, the good news is that they got to the quarter-final. The bad news is that it was in the Europa League. So undeniably, Paris were much, much worse in Europe with Haaland at the team. You can see there they got knocked out by Leicester in the quarterfinals, but in the Champions League group, an absolute disaster. They were third in the group behind Manchester United and Celtic. Only managed 2 wins against Young Boys and Celtic at home. Got a draw on the road to Young Boys. Lost home and away to Manchester United. And then, of course, they lost away to Celtic as well. So I don't think there's too much doubt here. I think we have to give this one to Mbappe, don't we? Mbappe versus Haaland. And, I think Mbappe's won it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Who has done the better job in the two teams? I mean, neither of them, to be honest, could carry their team to much glory. But, with Mbappe, Dortmund was second in the league as opposed to fourth. They went a little bit further in they went about the same in the Champions League. But with Mbappe, Paris were much, much better in Europe. So I'm giving it to Mbappe. Let me know what you think in the comments. Team Haaland or Team Mbappe. If you've enjoyed this, hit thumbs up. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and ring the bell. And I'll see you next time for another Versus. And we'll compare 2 European stars and see who comes out on top.